My name is Jeff Garvey. I've been involved with the foundation from the very beginning, which was late 1996, when I was in the process of figuring out something else to do with my life, post Austin Ventures, where I'd spent a wonderful 28 or 29 years and started that firm with a couple of other people, including Joe Aragona, who's on this board right now. But I got involved in sort of a strange way, in the sense that Lance and I had a mutual friend by the name of then Marion Birch, and this sort of change in life positioned for me in the fact that I'd lost my parents and my wife lost her parents from cancer, and wouldn't it be great to somehow, some way get involved in something that had to do with cancer. And the next thing I know, Marion says, well, I've got the perfect segue for you. You got to meet this guy, young guy, Lance Armstrong. And again, this is 1996, late 1996. He's just finishing up his treatments in Indianapolis, and I said, geez, that'd be a great idea. I was an avid cyclist. I lived less than a quarter of a mile away from where he lived at the time, but I'd never met him, and I didn't follow him all that carefully, but I certainly knew who he was, and I knew he'd been sick, and I knew he'd been undergoing treatment, but I didn't know anything about this thing, foundation. And so she said, I'm going to have you guys meet. Had a lunch catered at my home, and Marion was there for no more than 10 or 15 minutes just to act as a facilitator, and 3.5 or 4 hours later, we finished up this lunch. And it was one of the sort of more incredible experiences in my lifetime, where I met a young guy who was a world champion cyclist, even at that time, but had never gone to college, barely finished high school, and I discovered a human being who was so incredibly focused, intelligent, able to analyze and sort of see issues, and he was just a much smarter, more complete person than I was prepared for some reason. Maybe I was being stereotypical, but he just sort of blew me away, and was and still is Lance's primary agent. And Bill Stapleton took me aside before we actually ordered dinner and said, on behalf of Lance, that Lance wondered if I would be willing to be chairman of the board of this foundation that needed to get formed and organized and take on a mission, because believe me, although Lance had been given this, quote, obligation of the cure by Dr. Craig Nichols, he didn't really have a clue specifically what it was he wanted to do. So I thought about it for about a nanosecond and said, sure, I'd love to. And that's how it all started. That was in August or so of 1997. We formally formed the Lance Armstrong Foundation in October of 1997, had our first organizational board meeting. And that was 13 years ago. We had $10,000 maybe in the bank, 1 or 2 employees, no mission, no physical space, which is sort of amazing when I look around this place and think about where we are today versus then. And that's how it all got started.